Hey friends! Welcome back to the channel. It's so lovely to have you here again. Today's topic is something I'm really excited about. It's called Think in English, Speak Like a Native, The Secret Formula. Yeah, I know. It sounds like magic, right? But trust me, it's real, and it works. And today, we're diving deep into it. So grab a cup of tea, coffee, or whatever makes you feel cozy, because this is going to be a full, honest, and very real conversation. Just you and me, like a heart-to-heart chat. Okay, let's get into it. You know, a lot of people come to me and say, "Hey, I understand English. I can read, I can listen, even write a little." But when it comes to speaking, my brain freezes, my words disappear. And I totally get it. I've been there. The real problem? It's not your grammar. It's not your vocabulary. It's not your accent. It's the way you think. Yes, that's where the problem starts. And that's also where the solution lies. You see, most English learners still think in their native language first, and then try to translate into English. For example, let's say your native language is Hindi, or Spanish, or Arabic, or Chinese. Anything. You're thinking, "Mujhe pani chahiye," or "Quiero agua," or "Ana urid may." Then you pause, and your brain works like this. Okay, what's that in English? I want water? And by the time you say it out loud, you feel slow, unsure, and not confident. Right? Now imagine this. What if your brain just went straight to, "I want water," without any middle step? That's what thinking in English does. It cuts the translation time, it makes your brain faster, and it helps you speak naturally, just like native speakers. So, let's break this down. How can you train your brain to think in English? Let's go step by step. I'll tell you exactly how I did it, and how thousands of others have done it too. Step 1. Start with simple words and sentences. Okay. First things first. Don't try to think in perfect English from day one. That's like trying to lift 50 kilograms on your first day at the gym. Nope. You'll only hurt yourself. Instead, start small. When I began thinking in English, I would look around me and name things. I am sitting on a chair. This is a red book. I am drinking tea. My phone is on the table. I didn't worry about big words. I didn't think about grammar rules, just small, easy, simple sentences. But I did it daily, over and over again. And guess what? My brain started picking it up. You can do the same. Try it right now. Look around. Name 5 things in English. Describe what you're doing, even if it feels silly. This builds your English thinking muscle. Step 2. Speak with yourself. Yes, really. I know it sounds weird, but it's powerful. When I was learning, I used to have fake conversations in English with myself. I'd ask, "How was your day?" Then answer myself, "It was good. I went to the market. I bought some fruits." Or I'd pretend I was telling someone a story. "You know what happened today? I missed the bus. But then I took an auto and reached on time." These little self-talks trained my brain to respond in English. No translating, just flowing. You can do it in your mind or out loud. If you're shy, do it when you're alone, in your room, in the shower, on a walk. No one's judging. It's your personal training space. Step 3. Stop translating. This one's tough, but it's important. You must stop translating everything from your native language. Now listen, translation is okay at the very beginning, but if you always depend on it, you'll stay stuck. So, how do you stop translating? Here's what helped me. I started using a monolingual dictionary. That means English to English. So instead of searching, "What is the meaning of confused" in Hindi? I searched, "confused meaning in English," and I read the English explanation, "not sure what to do or believe." That way, I connected the word to its real meaning, not a translated one. That helped me understand, remember, and think in English. Step 4. Change your environment. If your surroundings are full of your native language, then your brain is getting zero English exposure. So change that. Start small. Change your phone and apps to English. Watch Netflix shows in English, with English subtitles. Listen to English podcasts, even while cooking or walking. Follow English-speaking YouTubers or creators. Read English signs, labels, books, magazines, even Instagram captions. Basically, surround yourself with English. Make English your daily background noise. Your brain will start absorbing the rhythm, the tone, the sentence structure, even if you're not trying hard. It's called passive learning, and it's so underrated. Step 5. Practice shadowing. Oh, I love this one. Shadowing means listening to someone speak in English and repeating what they say, at the same time, like a shadow. It trains your mouth and brain to sync together. Here's what I did. I picked a YouTube video with a native speaker. I played 10 seconds, paused, repeated what they said, exactly like them. Same tone, same speed, same style. Then moved to the next 10 seconds and repeated. At first, it was hard. My tongue felt slow. I missed words. But after a few days, I was shocked. My speaking speed increased, my accent improved, and my brain started thinking in the same rhythm. Try this with a favorite show, a TED Talk, or even my podcast. Step 6. Live in English, even if you're in a non-English country. Now you might say, but I don't live in an English-speaking country. No one around me speaks English. Guess what? I don't either. And yet, my brain lives in English. Here's how you can do it too. Create an English world inside your mind. Think in English. Write a journal in English. Text your friends in English, even if it's just 2 to 3 lines. Talk to your pets in English. Comment on YouTube videos in English. Watch movies without subtitles once a week. Make English part of your inner voice. Soon, it becomes your natural voice. Let's be honest. This takes time. Now look, I'm not here to sell you a magic pill. This process takes time. It's not overnight. But it does work, if you stay consistent. You don't need fancy courses. You don't need perfect grammar. You don't even need a native speaker teacher. You just need you. And your desire to switch your brain to English mode. Do it a little every day. Even 10 minutes daily of English thinking practice is gold. Real talk. Mistakes are part of the process. One of the biggest fears people have is, what if I make a mistake? And my answer is, so what? Native speakers make mistakes too. You're learning. You're growing. The only real mistake is staying silent because you're scared. When I started thinking and speaking in English, I made tons of errors. Wrong tenses, wrong words, wrong order. But I didn't stop, because every mistake was teaching me. And that's the secret that most people forget. Fluency is not about perfection. It's about confidence. All right, friends, let's keep rolling. I know we've covered some key steps so far. Starting small, talking to yourself, stopping translation, changing your environment, practicing shadowing, and even creating an English world inside your mind. But there's so much more to explore when it comes to thinking in English. Let's dive even deeper into why this method is so transformative and how you can build a lasting habit that will truly transform your English fluency. One of the most powerful ideas behind thinking in English is that it fundamentally changes the way your brain processes language. Instead of having a constant mental translation app running in the background, your brain starts to develop direct pathways for understanding and speaking. This not only speeds up your response time, but also makes your sentences feel more natural. Imagine not having to pause every few seconds to translate in your head, just pure, fluid thought. It's like switching from driving on a bumpy, winding road to cruising on a smooth highway. Now, I want you to think about this. Every time you force your mind to work in a second language, you're essentially rewiring it. It's like learning to ride a bike. At first, every pedal stroke requires effort and concentration. But once you get the hang of it, you can ride effortlessly, enjoying the wind in your hair without even thinking about the mechanics. That's what thinking in English can do for you. It makes speaking feel effortless and spontaneous. Let's talk about some practical techniques that can help you deepen this transformation even further. Imagine you're out and about. Maybe you're at a cafe, walking in the park, or even doing your daily chores. Instead of letting your native language take over, try narrating your actions in English. For instance, as you prepare your morning coffee, you might say in your mind, I am grinding coffee beans. I'm boiling water. I pour the water slowly, watching the aroma fill the room. It may sound trivial, but it's these little moments that gradually train your brain. Over time, these small habits add up and become second nature. Another fantastic exercise is to use technology to your advantage. There are several language learning apps that encourage you to think and respond in English. But don't limit yourself to just the structured lessons. Look for opportunities throughout your day. Change your social media feeds to English. Follow blogs, Instagram accounts, or even Twitter threads that share your interests, all in English. When you're scrolling, you're not just consuming content, you're subconsciously absorbing sentence structure, vocabulary, and even cultural nuances. I remember when I first made the decision to immerse myself completely in English. I started following several English-speaking creators who not only spoke the language, but also shared aspects of their daily lives. It wasn't just about language, it was about living the language. I began to see patterns, idioms, jokes, and even the subtle rhythms of everyday speech. And believe me, those nuances make a huge difference when you're trying to sound natural. Let's take a moment to explore why this immersion works so well. Our brains are wired for pattern recognition. When you're exposed to the language continuously, even if you're not actively studying, you start to recognize and predict the flow of conversation. It's similar to how you might notice the recurring beats in your favorite song without even realizing it. Over time, this constant exposure reinforces neural pathways that make it easier for you to recall and use the language spontaneously. Another advanced technique is to incorporate self-reflection into your daily practice. At the end of each day, set aside a few minutes to journal in English. Don't worry about making it perfect or even coherent at first. The idea is to capture your thoughts, feelings, and experiences in English. Write about what went well, what challenges you faced, and even the little victories. You might write, Today, I had a conversation with a stranger in English. I was nervous at first, but I managed to say my thoughts clearly. I'm proud of myself. Over time, this journaling habit not only boosts your vocabulary, but also helps you see your progress. You'll be amazed at how far you've come when you read back through your entries. Now, I want to share a personal story. A moment that really drove home the power of thinking in English. There was a time when I had to travel abroad for a conference. I was nervous about interacting with native speakers in a professional setting, but I remembered all the techniques I'd been practicing. Instead of relying on translation, I prepped my mind by thinking about common professional phrases in English, even rehearsing them in my head during the journey. When I arrived, instead of stumbling over words, I found myself conversing naturally, confidently, discussing ideas with colleagues from around the world. That experience was a turning point. It showed me that the secret formula wasn't just a theory, it was a practical, life changing tool. One crucial aspect of thinking in English is developing a mindset that embraces mistakes as part of the learning process. I often tell my friends, every time you make a mistake, you're actually giving your brain a chance to learn. Think about it this way. When you ride a bike and you wobble or fall, you learn to balance better next time. It's the same with language. Every error is a stepping stone towards fluency. So, don't be afraid to mess up. Embrace those mistakes and see them as opportunities to grow. The more you speak, the more natural your English will become. Now, let's get into some additional strategies that can help you deepen your English thinking. One innovative method is to use visual aids. Create flashcards with images and corresponding English words or phrases. For example, take a picture of a beautiful sunset and write, "The sunset is breathtaking" next to it. As you review these flashcards, your brain will start associating the image directly with the English phrase, bypassing any need for translation. This visual association can be especially powerful because it engages both your visual and linguistic centers in the brain. Another fun exercise is to set challenges for yourself. For example, you might decide that for one whole day, you will only think in English. It may sound daunting, but it's a game changer. Sure, there might be moments when your mind reverts to your native language, but that's completely normal. The goal is to push your boundaries and gently force your brain to operate in English. I once challenged myself to have an entire day of English-only thinking, and while it wasn't perfect, it forced me to be creative in how I expressed even the simplest thoughts. And every challenge like this builds up your fluency over time. Don't forget the power of conversation groups. Even if you don't have native speakers around, look for online forums or language exchange groups where you can practice English in real time. Platforms like Discord, Skype, or even specialized language exchange websites can connect you with fellow learners or native speakers. These conversations might be a bit intimidating at first, but they offer a live playground for your mind to practice thinking in English. And as you chat, you'll notice that the mental translation phase slowly disappears. You start reacting immediately in English. Let's also explore the role of storytelling in this journey. Humans are natural storytellers, and narratives are a great way to internalize a language. Try recounting your day as a story. For instance, once upon a morning, I woke up to the sound of birds chirping outside my window. I brewed my coffee, feeling the aroma fill my senses, and stepped out into the brisk air, ready for the day ahead. When you frame your experiences as a story, you not only practice vocabulary and grammar, but you also train your brain to structure thoughts in a coherent, engaging way. Over time, this storytelling becomes second nature, and your ability to speak fluidly improves dramatically. Now, let's tackle a common challenge: handling emotions in a second language. It's not just about facts or descriptions. Language is deeply tied to our feelings. Sometimes you might find that expressing emotions in English feels less natural or even a bit awkward. Here's a tip: when you experience strong emotions, try to label them in English. For example, if you're feeling excited, say to yourself, "I am so excited and energized right now." By doing this regularly, you gradually build a repertoire of emotional expressions in English. It might feel a little forced at first, but over time, it will become instinctual. Another significant aspect is learning idioms and expressions. Native speakers often use idioms that may not make sense when translated literally. Phrases like break the ice, hit the nail on the head, or cost an arm and a leg are common in everyday English, but can confuse non-native speakers. I recommend keeping a notebook or digital document where you jot down idioms you encounter, along with their meanings and examples of how to use them. For instance, you might write, break the ice, to initiate conversation in a social setting. Example: I told a joke at the beginning of the meeting to break the ice. With time, these expressions will become part of your natural speech, and you'll find yourself understanding and using them effortlessly. Of course, while learning idioms, it's equally important to understand the cultural context behind them. Language and culture are intertwined, and idioms often reflect historical or societal nuances. Watching movies, reading books, and even listening to music in English can provide context for these expressions. For example, a classic film might use idioms that give you insight into the time period and cultural attitudes of its characters. This cultural immersion enriches your language skills and helps you understand why native speakers choose certain expressions over others. Let's not overlook the importance of patience and self-compassion in this journey. Language learning is not a sprint, it's a marathon. There will be days when you feel like you're making huge strides, and days when progress seems to stall. Trust me, every bit of practice counts, even on the days that feel less productive. Remember, it's not about perfection, but about gradual, consistent improvement. Celebrate the small victories: a conversation where you didn't hesitate, a journal entry that flowed smoothly, or even a new word learned. Each of these is a sign of progress, and they add up over time. Another strategy I've found incredibly helpful is to record myself speaking in English. Yes, it might feel a little odd at first, but recording your voice can be a fantastic way to track your progress. When you listen back, you'll notice improvements in pronunciation, fluency, and even confidence. It's like having your own personal coach. Sometimes you might catch mistakes you weren't aware of, and that's okay. It's all part of the process. Over time, you'll start to appreciate the evolution of your speaking skills, and this self-feedback can be incredibly motivating. Now let's delve into some more nuanced aspects of the process, understanding the rhythm and musicality of English. Language is not just about words, it's about how those words flow together. English, like any language, has its own cadence, intonation, and stress patterns. Think about your favorite song and how it flows. To mimic that natural flow in speech, pay attention to how native speakers stress certain words, how they pause for effect, and how their tone rises and falls. You can practice this by listening to podcasts, audiobooks, or even radio shows. Try to imitate the rhythm of the speech. This technique, often called intonation practice, can help your spoken English sound more dynamic and engaging. For example, if you're listening to a story, notice how the speaker's voice rises when they're excited or falls when they're somber. Practice by reading a passage out loud and consciously adding those natural fluctuations in your voice. Over time, your brain will begin to internalize these patterns, making your speech not only more fluent, but also more expressive. This is what truly makes a language come alive. You're not just saying words, you're conveying emotion and meaning. I also want to touch upon the importance of using English in creative ways. Creativity can be a wonderful tool in language learning. Try writing a short story, a poem, or even a song in English. Don't worry if it isn't perfect. The act of creating something in another language forces you to think differently and challenges you to express ideas in new ways. Creativity doesn't have limits, and it can be a refreshing break from routine exercises. Whether it's writing a silly story about a talking cat or a heartfelt poem about a rainy day, every creative exercise is a step toward thinking in English. Let's get a bit more practical now. I want to share some specific exercises that you can integrate into your daily routine. These exercises are designed to be simple, fun, and incredibly effective. Morning reflections in English. When you wake up, spend 5 minutes thinking about what you're grateful for. Instead of saying it in your native language, say it in English. For example, I am grateful for the sunlight streaming through my window, for a good night's sleep, and for another day of opportunities. This not only sets a positive tone for your day, but also gets your mind thinking in English right from the start. The What Am I Doing challenge. As you go about your day, pause every hour or so and ask yourself, what am I doing right now? Then answer the question in English. It might be as simple as, I'm reading an email, or I'm preparing lunch. This quick self-check reinforces your habit of thinking in English throughout the day. Interactive observation. When you're out in public, whether you're at a park, a store, or on public transport, take a moment to observe your surroundings and mentally describe them in English. For instance, if you're in a park, you might think, I see children playing on the swings. The trees are full of green leaves. There is a gentle breeze that makes the day feel refreshing. This exercise sharpens your observational skills and trains your brain to naturally form descriptive sentences. Voice memos. Use your phone's voice memo app to record short monologues about your day. Speak freely. Don't worry about making mistakes. Listen back to these recordings after a week or two and notice how your fluency has improved. This reflective practice not only builds confidence, but also allows you to track your progress over time. Question and answer sessions. Write down a list of questions in English, anything from, what is my favorite hobby, to, what do I want to achieve this year? Then, record yourself answering these questions in English. This mimics the natural flow of conversation and forces you to think on your feet, building both your vocabulary and your spontaneity. Now, while all these techniques are incredibly effective, there's one underlying principle that I want you to embrace. Consistency. Even on days when you're tired, busy, or just not in the mood, try to dedicate a small portion of your day to thinking in English. Consistency is what builds habits, and habits are what build fluency. Just like exercising a muscle, even a few minutes every day can lead to significant improvements over time. I also want to address a common concern that many learners have: the fear of sounding too perfect or too rehearsed. There's a delicate balance between sounding natural and sounding robotic. When you're first starting out, it might feel like you're imitating someone else's accent or trying too hard. But here's the secret: authenticity matters more than perfection. Your voice, your personality, your unique way of expressing yourself, that's what makes your English special. Don't be afraid to let your individuality shine through. Even if your pronunciation isn't flawless, your authenticity and passion will resonate with your listeners. Remember, communication is not about being perfect. It's about connecting with others. Another advanced tip is to engage with content that challenges you. As you progress, gradually introduce more complex materials into your daily routine. This might mean reading a novel in English, watching documentaries, or even diving into debates and discussions on topics that interest you. Challenging yourself in this way forces your brain to expand its vocabulary and grasp of idiomatic expressions. It may feel overwhelming at first, but the more you expose yourself to higher level English, the more comfortable you'll become. For instance, you might start with a popular English novel that has been adapted into a movie. Watch the movie, read the book, and then try to discuss the themes, characters, and plot in English. This multi-layered approach engages different aspects of your language skills: listening, reading, speaking, and even critical thinking. Over time, you'll notice that your ability to process and articulate complex ideas in English improves dramatically. I also want to talk about the role of feedback in your journey. Whether it's a friend, a teacher, or even your own self-assessment, feedback is invaluable. Sometimes we might not realize the small errors we make, and that's where constructive criticism comes in. If you have a language buddy or a mentor, ask them to listen to you and give you honest feedback. It might be about pronunciation, sentence structure, or even the flow of your conversation. Use that feedback to fine-tune your skills. And if you're practicing on your own, make it a habit to listen to recordings of your speech and note any areas for improvement. This kind of reflective practice is key to long-term progress. Let's also consider the emotional aspect of learning a language. It's normal to feel frustrated sometimes, especially when you're putting in the effort and not seeing immediate results. But here's something I've learned over the years: every setback is a setup for a comeback. There will be moments when your mind feels cluttered, when the words just don't come out right, or when you find yourself defaulting to your native language. In those moments, remind yourself why you started. Remember the excitement you felt at the beginning of your journey. Embrace the struggle as part of the process. Every challenge you overcome is a testament to your growth. I want to encourage you to celebrate every milestone, no matter how small. Did you successfully order a meal in English at a restaurant? Did you chat with someone online without pausing to translate? Celebrate it. Each victory, however minor, is a sign that you're on the right path. Keeping a victory log, a simple diary where you jot down every time you successfully think or speak in English, can be a great motivator. It's a tangible reminder that your efforts are paying off, and it fuels your determination to keep moving forward. As you continue this journey, you may also notice that your perspective on language and culture shifts. Learning to think in English isn't just about mastering vocabulary or grammar. It's about adopting a new way of looking at the world. You begin to see things from different angles, appreciate nuances in communication, and even develop a more open and global mindset. This cultural enrichment is one of the most beautiful byproducts of language learning. It's not just about speaking, it's about connecting, understanding, and growing as a person. Now, let's address some common pitfalls and how to overcome them. One common trap is the reliance on literal translations. It's so easy to fall back on translating word for word in your head. To break this habit, consciously challenge yourself to rephrase sentences in English without thinking about your native language. It might help to have a mental translation timer. Give yourself only a couple of seconds before forcing a direct English thought. With practice, you'll find that the translation phase shortens until it eventually vanishes. Another pitfall is the tendency to overthink. Sometimes you might find yourself pausing too long, worrying about the correct grammar or the perfect word. This overthinking can halt your natural flow and make speaking feel stilted. To combat this, allow yourself to be imperfect. Practice speaking quickly, even if mistakes occur. The goal is communication, not perfection. The more you let go of the need to be flawless, the freer your speech will become. In time, your brain will learn that it's okay to be imperfect, that mistakes are simply stepping stones on your path to fluency. I also want to emphasize the importance of relaxation and mindfulness. When you're nervous, your body can tense up, and that tension can interfere with your ability to think clearly. Try incorporating some mindfulness exercises into your routine. Even a few minutes of deep breathing or a short meditation can relax your mind and help you enter a state of calm readiness. When you're relaxed, your brain is more open to absorbing and processing English naturally. It's all connected. The mind and the body work together to create that effortless flow of language. Before I wrap up this extended conversation, let's revisit a few key points one more time. The secret formula to thinking in English is all about rewiring your brain. It's about creating an environment where English isn't just a subject you study, it's a part of who you are. By practicing consistently, using creative techniques, embracing mistakes, and challenging yourself, you gradually replace the need to translate with natural, spontaneous thought. And that's when you truly start to speak like a native. I want you to picture a future where, instead of feeling hesitant or stuck, you confidently express your thoughts, share your stories, and connect with people from all over the world, all in English. That future is within your reach. Every day you practice, every conversation you have, every moment you challenge yourself to think in English, you're one step closer to that reality. As we come to the end of this session, I hope you feel inspired and ready to take on the challenge. The journey to fluency isn't always easy, but it's incredibly rewarding. Embrace the process, enjoy the small victories, and remember that every effort counts. I know that as we keep moving forward on this journey, there's always more to explore, more habits to build, and more surprises waiting for us. So let's dig even deeper into the art of thinking in English and unlock some advanced insights and personal experiences that have helped me and many others evolve. One thing I want to share is how thinking in English can actually change the way you understand yourself. When you start framing your thoughts directly in English, you're not just learning a language, you're also learning a new way to see the world. You begin to notice details you might have missed before. Suddenly, everyday moments like watching the sunrise or preparing a meal become opportunities to describe, analyze, and even appreciate life in a fresh, more vibrant way. Imagine you're walking through a bustling market. Instead of thinking, "This is so crowded," in your native tongue, you start thinking in English. The market is lively, full of energy, with vibrant colors, and the rich aroma of spices everywhere. This shift might seem small, but it opens your mind to a new vocabulary of feelings and sensations. You're no longer confined by the linguistic limits of your first language. You're free to explore ideas, emotions, and even humor in English. Let me share another exercise that really helped me transform my English thinking. The Dream Journal in English. Before I sleep, I would spend a few minutes jotting down a few thoughts or predictions for the next day in English. When I woke up, sometimes I'd recall dreams I had, and I'd describe them in English as well. It wasn't about getting it right or making perfect sentences. It was about training my brain to link abstract ideas directly with English words and expressions. Over time, even my dreams began to incorporate English phrases, and that was such an exciting sign of progress. Another advanced technique that might sound a bit out there is mind mapping in English. Take a topic you're interested in, say travel or music, and create a mind map in English. Start with a central word and branch out with related ideas, adjectives, verbs, and even idiomatic expressions. For example, if you start with travel, you might add branches like adventure, discovery, culture, wanderlust, and journey. Under each, add more words. For adventure, maybe thrilling, unexpected, exhilarating, and spontaneous. This exercise not only boosts your vocabulary, but also helps you see how words and ideas connect naturally, bypassing the mental translation that often slows you down. Another thing that has profoundly influenced my journey is immersing myself in stories, whether through novels, films, or even conversations. Stories have a unique way of tapping into our emotions and making us remember language naturally. I encourage you to pick up a favorite book in English, or even reread a classic, and then discuss it, either with friends or even in a voice memo to yourself. Talk about the characters, the plot, what you learned from it. This isn't just reading, it's an active engagement with the language that forces your brain to process and create content spontaneously. And speaking of stories, let's talk about humor. Laughter is a universal language, and it's a wonderful tool in mastering English fluency. Don't be afraid to explore English comedy, watch a stand-up show, listen to a funny podcast, or even read humorous essays. Humor often relies on wordplay and cultural references, so it's challenging, but in the best way possible. When you catch the joke without needing to pause and think, that's a huge sign your brain is thinking in English. I remember a time when I watched a popular comedy special, and I laughed along not just because the jokes were funny, but because I wasn't pausing or overthinking the punchlines. That moment felt liberating, like I was truly part of the conversation. Humor makes learning lighthearted, and it reminds you that it's okay to have fun with language. Another aspect we shouldn't overlook is the role of body language and facial expressions when speaking English. Our communication isn't just in words, it's in our gestures, our eyes, and even the way we pause. When you practice thinking in English, try pairing your spoken words with natural expressions. If you're talking about something surprising, let your face show it. If you're sharing a funny story, allow a smile to form. This connection between mind and body reinforces your thoughts in English. Over time, you'll notice that even your body remembers the rhythm of English conversation. Now, let's address the mental blocks that sometimes pop up. It's completely normal to feel frustrated when progress seems slow. I've had days when I'd sit in front of a blank page or screen, feeling like my mind was completely empty. In those moments, I learned that it's okay to take a break. Sometimes the best way to clear a mental block is to step away, breathe deeply, and allow your brain to reset. Whether it's a short walk, a bit of meditation, or even dancing around in your living room, find a way to release that tension. Then come back to English with a refreshed mind. It's not a race, it's a marathon, and every step counts. Let's also talk about the importance of setting realistic goals. Instead of expecting overnight perfection, set small, achievable targets for each day. Maybe it's thinking in English for just 10 extra minutes, or trying out a new idiom in conversation. Over time, these small increments add up to massive improvements. I like to celebrate each milestone, whether it's ordering food confidently in English, or even just thinking a whole conversation in English without a hitch. Each little win is a boost to your confidence and a reminder that progress is happening, even if it feels incremental. For those moments when you're feeling particularly stuck, remember that it's okay to reach out for support. Whether it's joining an online community, partnering up with a language buddy, or even scheduling a chat with a tutor, interacting with others can provide new perspectives and feedback. Sometimes, hearing how someone else expresses the same thought can unlock a whole new approach for you. And don't forget, we're building a community of learners, each of us with our own struggles, triumphs, and stories. Your journey is unique, and sharing it can be incredibly empowering for you and for others who might be in the same boat. I also want to delve a bit into the role of emotions in language learning. We all have moments when self-doubt creeps in, the nagging worry that maybe we'll never sound as fluent as a native speaker. But here's a little secret. Even native speakers have their off days. They stumble, they pause, and sometimes they even forget what they were saying. The goal isn't to eliminate these moments. It's to learn to navigate through them gracefully. Embrace every pause, every stumble, as part of your authentic communication. Over time, those imperfections become charming marks of your unique voice. Remember, communication is about connection, not perfection. Your listeners are here to understand you, to share in your journey, and to appreciate the courage it takes to learn and grow. Another intriguing element is how thinking in English can improve your decision-making skills and creativity. When you're not bogged down by translation, your mind is freer to analyze, compare, and innovate. I've found that when I'm engaged in a creative project, like planning a trip or brainstorming ideas for a new blog post, I often switch to English to get a fresh perspective. It's almost as if the language itself opens up new pathways in your mind, allowing you to consider options and possibilities that might not be as readily available in your native tongue. This mental agility is one of the underrated benefits of thinking in a second language. For those of you who enjoy technology, there are creative ways to harness digital tools to enhance your English thinking. For example, consider using language learning apps that not only provide vocabulary drills, but also immersive experiences, apps that encourage you to interact in English without relying on your native language. Some apps simulate real-life scenarios, prompting you to make quick decisions and respond on the fly. These apps turn language learning into an interactive game, making the process both engaging and practical. They're a fun way to challenge your brain and keep your English skills sharp, even when you're on the go. I also want to touch on a more subtle aspect of fluency, the art of pausing. In English conversation, natural pauses are not signs of weakness, but rather moments that add emphasis and clarity. When you're thinking in English, learn to embrace these pauses. They're not moments of silence, they're moments of thought, reflection, and connection. When you pause naturally, you give yourself time to choose the right word, and you give your listener a moment to process what you're saying. It creates a rhythm in conversation that's both engaging and authentic. So next time you're speaking, don't rush. Allow the conversation to breathe, and let the pauses be as meaningful as the words. Let's now explore another aspect that I find incredibly exciting, the idea of language dreaming. This might sound whimsical, but bear with me. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night with a vivid recollection of a dream? Now, imagine if more of your dreams were in English. Over time, if you're consistently thinking and engaging with English during the day, you might start experiencing dreams where you interact, speak, or even solve problems in English. This phenomenon is not only a sign of deep immersion, but also a powerful indicator that your brain is integrating English at a subconscious level. It shows that the language is no longer just an external tool, but a part of how you process and experience the world, even when you're asleep. As we continue to build our fluency, let's also discuss the importance of reflective learning. After a conversation, a podcast, or even after watching an English movie, take a moment to reflect on what you heard or said. What words or phrases stood out? Were there moments where you struggled to find the right expression? Jot down these observations in your journal. Over time, these reflections become a treasure trove of insights into your progress. They remind you that every conversation, every exposure, and every challenge is a building block toward becoming more fluent. It's not just about speaking. It's about understanding the nuances and rhythms of English in a way that feels natural and effortless. Sometimes you might feel that you're repeating the same exercises over and over, and that can become monotonous. In those moments, I encourage you to mix things up. Switch between different activities. One day, focus on creative writing. The next, dive into a debate on a current event. Explore different accents and dialects by listening to speakers from various English-speaking countries. This diversity not only enriches your vocabulary, but also gives you a broader understanding of how English can be adapted to different contexts and cultures. Each variation is like a new color in your palette, allowing you to paint your thoughts in increasingly vibrant and varied hues. As we near the latter part of our conversation today, I want to share a final thought on the transformative power of thinking in English. It's not just a method for learning a language, It's a mindset that can empower you in many areas of life. When you train your brain to operate in English, you're not only gaining fluency, you're also cultivating a habit of constant learning and adaptation. This mindset can spill over into your work, your relationships, and even your personal growth. It teaches you resilience, creativity, and the courage to step outside your comfort zone. And that is a lesson that extends far beyond the realm of language. So, as you go about your day, remember that every moment is an opportunity to think, speak, and live in English. Whether you're ordering a meal, chatting with a friend, or even just watching the sunset, allow English to be a natural part of your inner dialogue. Over time, these small efforts will compound into a profound shift in the way you communicate and connect with the world. I truly hope that our conversation today has given you not just practical tips, but also the inspiration to fully embrace this journey. Learning to think in English isn't a destination, it's an ongoing process of growth, discovery, and self expression. Each day brings new challenges and new rewards, and every step you take builds your confidence and enriches your life. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a few affirmations that you can use daily. These are little reminders that can help reinforce your progress and keep you motivated. I am capable of learning and expressing myself in English. Every day, my mind grows stronger and more fluent in English. Mistakes are part of my journey, and each one brings me closer to fluency. I celebrate every small victory, knowing that they add up to great progress. I am open to new experiences, new words, and new ways of seeing the world in English. Take a moment, breathe deeply, and say these affirmations to yourself. Let them be a gentle reminder that you're on an exciting, rewarding path, one that not only improves your language skills, but also broadens your horizon in countless ways. As we conclude this extended session on Think in English, Speak Like a Native, the secret formula, I want to thank you for spending this time with me. I hope you feel empowered, inspired, and ready to dive even deeper into the world of English. Remember, every thought you have in English is a step toward mastering this beautiful language, and every effort you make is a victory in itself. Thank you for listening, for engaging with this content, and for being part of this incredible journey. I'm here cheering you on every step of the way. Don't forget to share your experiences, ask questions, or even just say hi in the comments below. Let's continue building this amazing community of learners together. Until next time, keep thinking in English, keep expressing your true self, and keep shining brightly. The world is waiting to hear your unique voice, and I know that with every thought and every word, you're moving closer to speaking like a native in the most natural and authentic way possible.